sure it will be. Hey guys. I have my special guest.
I'm here.
Cleansed. His liver is now pure. Just kidding.
Dark circles were mostly gone.
Wait just a second, babe. Let him all come on. He's ready just to get to the point and get off of this.
That's what I'm saying. Dark circles.
But today we're going to talk about the 3 levels of cleansing and how Jeff approached his cleanse and got really sick. He's going to tell you all the details tonight.
It's tons
of fun. How there's a way to step into your cleanse. And if you've been through my Symptomless program, we're going to talk about what you're actually ready for next. And if you're just joining us for the gluten-free challenge, if you're new, let me know. If we've never met, if we've never worked together, put it in the comments. Just say, hey, I'm new. And we'll tell you how to start to wade into this so you're not like Jeff on day 1. Because that was not really fun for anyone.
Oh, but day 2 and 3 were awesome.
So, yes, I can't wait to hear what Jeff has to say. New! Hello, Carol. I'm glad you're here. So, if you're new to my world and functional medicine and cleansing, Emma, go to the link in my bio. It says gluten-free challenge. Sign up. Do it right now, and you can come back to this live. I'll talk for a little bit so you don't miss too much. And sign up for the gluten-free
challenge.
The gluten-free challenge. Get signed up and then come on back and we'll help you get started. But the gluten-free challenge emails will lead you through exactly what you need to do to get started. It's light, it's gentle, it's an abundance approach. Even if you have been through my Symptomless program, the gluten-free challenge, all the emails, it's content you've never had. All the recipes, it's not in your Meals to Heal, it's not in your Symptomless guide, it's not in the 1-day detox. This is all new and some of them are Jeff inspired, so they're pretty good. And then there's a playlist, there's a podcast. Yes,
thanks,
so
Emma.
It's Emma said people don't know what you're like what you're
the lip.
You have to read the comment.
She said my lip color is fire.
But she met mine in Beauty Counter and she sold it to me. So that's what I said. But so let's talk about the way to cleanse. So sign up, gluten-free challenge, if you're new, if you're old to this world, and then we'll get right in. So there's 3 levels essentially that I have found to cleanse. And we talked about yesterday. That was just yesterday at 11 a.m. I'm like last week. We talked about why cleansing the body. And I made a couple of analogies. The first analogy I gave was if you never clean your house, if you just let junk pile up and accumulate, like even if you're a clean person and you wipe down your counters and you have a cleaning lady or you do that kind of work yourself, your house is still going to build up with junk just because we accumulate stuff, whether we're meaning to or not. Mm-hmm. And our body is the same way. And actually, Jeffy had some not so great liver labs. Sorry, I had to tell him. And
truth is.
In August, they looked about, and you don't drink alcohol, right?
I'll have
Can you
maybe
lean forward a little
I'll
bit?
maybe have some wine here, some wine there.
But
I don't drink regularly.
But the last time your liver enzymes were high like that was because college, right?
Probably.
Okay, so yeah, you were in college when they were that high. So we were looking at them, and I was like, Jeff, we got to do something with your liver, and you had done like a bulk for the gym and you were feeling good, feeling strong. And
put on probably 40 pounds.
Bio belly.
160 to 200.
So, and then I wanted to do something because I can tell when Jeff is making like Mayoko's mac and cheese every night and chocolate desserts that are all Symptomless approved, but it's still like...
She enjoys my cooking a little too much.
And then I'm like, ooh, I feel sluggish, or like, I'm breaking out. It's just like too much, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine if all the time you are going to the store or you have a partner like Jeff and he's just making all this kind of food. Your body never gets this chance to clean, like open up and clean out. So imagine you're going to the store every day, you're buying like, you're getting clothes from Express, you're going to American Eagle, you're just buying all this new stuff and you're never getting rid of the old stuff in your closet. Things are going to build up. Your body is the same way. If we never intentionally have the content, the container, right? to allow ourselves to cleanse in the community. I couldn't think of my other C. I was like, I couldn't remember. I made it up yesterday. It worked. The content to take you forward, the container, and the community. If we don't set this time intentionally aside, we're not going to do it. Just like if we don't say we're going to purge the house. So today through January 20th, we're doing a 7-day gluten-free cleanse. You can choose your 7 days. And then I'm going to take you through on this live. If you're like, Jen, I've already gone through your Symptomless program. You might need a reboot. Sometimes we go back to gluten, and it's just part of it. And sometimes we're gluten-free, dairy-free. We're still doing like lemon water in the morning and smoothies, but we can always take it to another level. And this is the first time that we have done the 369 cleanse, and we actually used Anthony Williams' Liver Rescue.
Even though she made it sound like she did it before, and I was totally on board because I was going to let her lead me.
I've done a lot of his cleanses, or just like other people in that space, and they've been really effective. Mm-hmm. But what I was telling Jeff is, and this isn't like putting myself on a pedestal, this is actually saying I was really, really sick in my 20s, like bedridden sick, couldn't get out of bed. I started using food as medicine to heal, and for about 2 years, I ate pretty much very similar to this cleanse. So when we got into it, my body was like, oh, I've ridden this bike before, and it just started coming back to me. I was like, oh, I remember how good this feels. And it's funny how far we get away from our body's set point. So our body's set point is different for every single person. Some people only need to go gluten-free and drink lemon water, and they're going to feel absolutely amazing. I'm a sensitive Sally. Like, I need pretty much the Liver Rescue Cleanse or the 369. Now my new intention is to do 3 days a month of the 6 or the 9, and we'll explain it. And then once a year do the full cleanse. And Jeff's a little bit
I actually wouldn't mind doing the full cleanse probably like every 6 months, because
Yeah.
I feel like it did clear a lot of crud out.
Yes. So it's like cleaning out your house. We purged our bodies. We actually purged our house recently. We're feeling really good in 2023. The other analogy I gave. So imagine if you never declutter your house. That's your body, and you're going to feel weighed down and ugh. And then when you do purge your house, you're like, there's so much room for activities. Well, your body feels the same way. The second analogy, and why I want to talk about, Sage is here, the 3 levels, and Maya's over there, of cleansing and detoxing your body is because imagine your car sat outside in 15-degree weather, right? And then you, right now, it's been outside all day. You run outside, you jump in your car, and you go 60 miles per hour up the hill. It's going to cause stress to your car, possibly some damage, and you're not going to be able to go as fast, and it's not going to feel good, and it's not going to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffy did that.
Got up that hill, though.
I
got up that hill.
He did it the first day.
I was the first one up the hill, and I felt the worst.
And I remember, like, at the end of the first day, I was like, let's put it in this analogy. Hey, babe, are you really going to just not... You're just going to go drive? Like, you're not going to let the car warm up? And he's like, but I'm going to do... What'd you say? Well, I'm going to do this.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going all the way in. Let's go first day.
Toxic masculine coming out. Oh, no, Jeff, yes. And, you're trying to convince Dustin to do it? Okay, well, maybe you can show him this. It is hard, but you feel so good. So instead of not allowing the car to preheat or expecting your veggies to cook in the oven if it's not preheated, there's a way that you can slowly go into cleansing. And tonight we'll talk about that. So I'll tell you right now the 3 tiers so you can stay ahead of this. First tier is the gluten-free challenge. And there's new content in this container and in a new community. So whether you're new to my world, you've done all my programs or not, it's for you. Then there's the symptomless program or the symptomless course. So you can buy the course, you can work together, you can read my blog, piecemeal and figure it out together. That's great. And when you're done with that, if you're like, I'm a symptomless program graduate, I've like healed autoimmune chronic illness conditions, because like I said yesterday, I have never seen a chronic inflammatory condition or an autoimmune disease not heal and symptoms not almost completely resolve from nutritional therapy at the right tier for the right amount of time. It's impossible. It's inflammation. It's like saying, I can just never get my house clean. Like, my house is just never meant to be clean. That's impossible. We just haven't had the right protocol, and we haven't had the right amount of time. Chronic inflammatory conditions and autoimmune disease will heal using food as medicine, like I solemnly Girl Scout swear.
And I would say for me, I didn't know the structure. So half the time is knowing the information as well and how to do it. Because if you don't know how to do it, it's hard to clean your house. It's like, well, here's some tools. I don't know how to put these tools together.
So for Jeff, okay, so for those who are new, this is Jeff, my fiance. He was my roommate.
Allegedly.
And when I met him, because I didn't really know him, and he moved into my house, he ate ham and Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I did that a few times.
That's like what, but you like went to McDonald's for breakfast, and like tell us where you're coming from, and then take us through.
All right, that McDonald's.
And then take us through, like, you've gone through these 3 levels, right? Like you moved in, and then he lived here. You lived here for a year and some change first.
That was a little bit over.
And then we started kissing.
Actually, I didn't think it was a year.
Whatever.
Less than a year.
And then he went out with some of my friends, messed that up, and then so then when we got together, I remember juicing celery in the morning, and I was like, do you want me to make you some? So he started to wade into the waters. Deanna said, true story, healed mine till I fell off the wagon. Body is pissed at me right now. Well, this is why you're here, girl. Like,
yeah, Jen, that's your story.
I was doing real great, then I met Jeff and started eating.
I was talking about Monday night.
Oh, I did. The night before the last day of the cleanse, I did. Anyways, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So you were eating like ham and Dr. Pepper, so you like weren't cleansing.
Chick-fil-A, a lot of Chipotle.
A lot of McDonald's in the morning.
I really wasn't doing tons of McDonald's.
You were when you lived at your dad's.
Yeah, at my dad's I was doing some McDonald's.
A lot of drinking.
Yeah, a lot of drinking. I would say my diet I didn't take care of myself, I would say, from a nutritional standpoint. I kind of worked out here and there.
Yeah.
But even whenever I worked out, I would say my nutrition wasn't on
Emma
point.
said, did you eat Sonic?
There wasn't one nearby, otherwise I would have probably grabbed me a fat cheeseburger.
Okay, so then like just like making
a lot of
succinct.
animal.
So then what did you do? You were eating like that, and then what was... I honestly... He just started changing. He wanted to impress me, but... what did you do first? So, like, people who are coming from this world... Sonic. Who are coming from a world of, like, I'm trying to just survive, you know? I'm getting by. I don't even realize what I'm eating. The gluten-free challenge is for you.
Well, and I would say I kind of started by listening to a lot of your stuff, and, right? Makes me feel good. Want to do better.
Right, what'd you listen to?
I just hear you talk and hear like the people you're listening to and talking to, and you hear I feel good, I feel like this, I feel better, I feel lighter, I mean, so on and so forth. And so it was like, let's try it. So it started with celery juicing. Celery juice doesn't actually taste bad to me.
Did you have any did it make you go to the bathroom at first, or?
I think initially, but I've been drinking it for so long now, it's just like water. I don't really like it. It doesn't have tons of flavor to me, for one, and then for two, it doesn't really affect anything in my body, so I don't like have to run to the bathroom or do anything. So it's just kind of.
So then, what'd you do after?
So I think I started doing celery juice and trying to change that. Then I think I started to change my diet up. So, like I said in the middle, like we weren't necessarily dating yet in COVID, and I would eat like a lot of Chick-fil-A and Chipotle and everything else like that. A lot of oils. Of course, like deep fried chicken, deep French fries, mac and cheese that I'm sure was microwaved and that was bagged up and frozen. And so I think that I started to change my diet and start doing Instapot meals. So I'd Instapot potatoes, vegetables, broccoli, celery. The house smelled like a huge fart because of that for most of the time.
All the time.
But I started to feel better. I would run. I would try to make myself feel better.
Just trying to read the comments.
No, I wasn't trying to read the comments. I was just thinking, and I was like, how I felt, because I was running a lot. I think I got down to about 160 pounds.
What do you weigh now?
So I ballooned up to 200 up through October of 2021, and got up to about 200 at the beginning of this year, and I'm down to probably 185-ish now.
After the cleanse?
Yeah, probably 185, 190.
So you totally got me into celery juice. Oh, celery. It's where I fall short. I can't get past the taste. You could, though, if you don't like celery juice, you could do everything else. Our husky's being cute.
She's always cute.
You could do everything else and just let that part go. Mm-hmm. And maybe bring in some other green juices. I just brought him home one from Enjoy that's like other greens and green apples.
Drinking it before bed.
Okay, so you came from just eating whatever, started celery juice, started cleaning up your diet. What did you start to notice really when you went gluten and dairy free? So this is the cleanse part. You're coming, you don't have to do celery juice just to get in the cleanse, but you're going gluten dairy free, maybe adding in some lemon water.
And I'd say that's the big thing I started to do is kind of do some of the elimination of the gluten and the dairy. I always tried to eliminate dairy because I felt very mucusy whenever I did dairy. Yeah, like that. I would just feel phlegmy all the time. Whenever I got a cold, it was just lingering. So dairy was always one of those I was very cognizant of. I never really drank milk for probably the past 10 or 15 years. A little bit of cheese. I will admit I do like cheese and did like cheese. Gluten, though, was the one that I probably didn't sway away from. And so I would have a lot of... I never really liked bread, but deep fried stuff, crumbs, anything like that. So,
and shout out to Zen Donkey Farms. They just joined the live, and they deliver.
They actually were the first people I got juice from before we started dating. Jen was like, we should try this because you got me on a protocol.
And they deliver organic juice if you're in the Kansas City area.
Such a saver.
And you did like you did a gut cleanse.
Yep.
And you started the celery juice.
Because I think that you were trying to see what all was happening in there after the accumulation of Chick-fil-A and whatnot, and that was part of what got me going.
So what symptoms would away? And if you don't remember, I'll tell them. Guys are like, I don't know.
The first thing is you can kind of see them. They're back. It's been a long week for me. But the dark circles were... actually looked like I got punched in both eyes pretty severely. So those are a few shades lesser.
Let me say something. It's funny. Becca's on here, I think, and she would come over and be like, Jenny, she'd be like, your roommate's dark circles are so bad. I'm like, look in the fridge, and she'd be like, how does he eat that? And we would laugh.
No, they were terrible. So dark circles was... This is nothing compared to what I look like.
For partners who are like already cleansing, and you're like, I wish my husband or wife or my brother or my sister or my whoever would do this. I never.
Yup, Becca.
I never was like, Jeff, you have to change your diet. If he just started watching and tried one little thing, and it's instant gratification.
Yeah,
started feeling better.
You hear it like when people say they feel so good. It's like, well, it's not. It's a little bit fear of missing out, FOMO. Like, right? Yeah. I kind of want to feel good.
My clients, we would get have like a community meal or be at client events, and they'd be like, I feel so good, and so you wanted it.
Yeah. I wanted to feel good.
Grinding went away. Your TMJ.
Teeth grinding.
Dark circles.
The embarrassing was I had a big stomach rash, and I would get a lot of like shingles. Rashes. Yeah, and so like a lot of that started going away. I was probably pretty toxic. I would sauna too every day as well. Sauna. Yep.
Another perk of dating me. I come with an infrared sauna. Anyways.
There was that, but that was the big one was I just felt overall better. I would say gym performance, even though I was 160 pounds and probably eating like maintenance, I still was able to go harder because I didn't have the Dr. Pepper or the ham. Like, I actually had energy in the tank, so even going to the gym and eating, I wasn't gaining weight, but I was staying at 160 pounds, but I was still able to kind of kick butt in the workouts and eat at that level. You came from this level, and then we kind of shifted you into symptomless, and this was more through my nagging after his liver labs back in August. I was like, Jeff, you're eating way too much protein. He was having a protein shake and then probably meat at both meals. So this is, we'll talk about the 369. This is the part of the three, it's 9 days, but the first 3 days where they have 939.
where they have you start to cut back on the animal protein. Mm-hmm. And so what did I tell you, and what did you absorb, and then what did you do?
Are you talking about the first 3 days?
No, so post August you had those high liver enzymes, and I was like, told you. And I was nagging you about your amount of protein. This is before the cleanse.
Oh, you're talking about me starting to cut back on that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would do Four Sigmatic has a mushroom-based protein shake. I did that because I've never really was a huge fan of whey protein. It just didn't taste good to me, and it was always chalky and stuff like that. So I like this because it was really sweet, but it was coconut sweetener. Very high in fat, though.
It's a clean protein, but it's high fat.
Yeah, so it's high in fat, high in protein. I wouldn't say I felt the greatest afterwards, but it was one of those where it's like, I gotta get my gains.
But why I'm like dogging on his protein shakes and all the animal protein, these aren't bad foods. And if you're training and if you're wanting to build muscle, like, you can have these things. But what happens when we have too much fat or protein is our blood gets thick and deoxygenated. Those who have had lab work, if I haven't looked at it, go look at your albumin levels. And if they're high or on the higher end, your blood is chronically dehydrated. Your blood is sludgy. And so when that blood is sludgy, then the liver can't filter it out. That's stressful for the liver, which will hike up those liver enzymes. Viruses, bacteria, metals, parasites, all these things are going to be festering in the liver, causing liver stress. Cholesterol, thyroid issues, dark circles, digestion
Well, and the big thing that I was doing too is right after the gym, I was doing a protein shake and probably not eating until lunch. And so we would work out in it at 7. And I probably wouldn't eat lunch until 11 or so. So I had a protein. I didn't have any like sugar or really anything in my body, which your body needs to recover after a workout.
You need carbs
to
recover.
And so I was like, I just need protein and fat. And my body's like, dude, you need more than that. And so
further kicked up.
I went from being worked out and tired to being protein and fat full, where my body probably should have.
Tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My body probably needed carbs to actually recover from the workout and give myself energy.
And you just looked so tired.
And I was tired for most of the day, and I probably couldn't finish. I mean, still am.
Okay, so what the biggest thing I said to him on the cleanse over and over, what did I say? What I noticed about you on the cleanse?
The dark circles?
No.
I wasn't grumpy.
I'm like, Jeff is the funniest guy I know, and that's why I'm probably going to marry him, as long as he keeps playing his cards right. Just kidding, babe. But he's so funny. He's so much fun to be around. And on the cleanse, it was just like there was no like snappiness in his mood shifts. And I have it too. I'm just talking about Jeff. So this is not me isolating myself.
Told you I went hard during the cleanse.
And he, like, your mood, did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, your moods were just so light. But he was like, I want something heavier. For the guys listening, he wanted some sustenance.
Yeah, because I would say a lot of the cleanse was, I would say, more water-based.
Just like all I need is leafy greens.
Yeah.
So the gluten-free challenge, not so much like that. Symptomless program, that's the first 3 days of the 369 cleanse. So if you know symptomless, you can have animal protein. It's just like once a day at dinner. Symptomless is modified to each person, but you're just general rules of thumb. You're backing off on pork, gluten, dairy. You're starting to pull back on all these things. Fats. And so in general, Jeff, how do you feel? Two checkpoints. How do you feel after you started basically eating symptomless? So like the challenge, like the program, and then now how do you feel after the cleanse?
I'm trying to remember after
and like make sure your head's in the thing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to remember after. I bet Lou on me. I'm trying to remember after symptomless, because that was a long time ago. I would say pretty good. There's still probably some sluggishness here, just some tiredness. Just overall, I'm trying to think about what.
You didn't practice this before we got on?
No, I didn't. Of course not. I improvised.
He feels better.
I did feel better, like doing symptomless. I'm trying to think about that though versus after the cleanse, because after the cleanse, I would say I felt incredibly light. I felt good most of the time.
Less moody.
I would say my tiredness levels probably went down a little bit.
Slept better.
I did feel like I slept better. The cleanse was really good for a lot of things, and it did take up quite a few things up as well.
Yeah. So I noticed, I just felt so good. Like, I like to wake up early if I get to bed at a good time, and I was able to wake up like earlier and just be present in the mornings. And I had so much time because my body wasn't waking up and still processing all the junk that I put in it the day before. It was really great. So biggest things I noticed with the cleanse: energy, mood for me, lightness in the morning, digestion was great. And really, what prompted us? I do remember.
What prompted you to do the cleanse?
Your stomachs had been hurting really bad after eating heavier meals, like sushi. Like the last couple times we've had sushi,
it wasn't just that, but I was complaining to you about how I wasn't sleeping well.
Yeah.
And you were like, I think I was waking up a lot at 2 o'clock. You're like, that's the liver's witching hour.
That's the liver's that's the liver's witching hour. Literally, if you're awake from 2 to 4 a.m. and you're not able to get back to sleep, your liver, this is the time of the day, it's 2 to 4 a.m. and p.m. that energy runs through, like your
liver wants to be the first one awake. And so whenever you're waking up at 2 to 3, your liver's like, I can't do my job because the rest of you guys are awake.
Not quite, but
that's what 369.
Oh, maybe he read that in the book. But what I understand, what I have been trained and learned and seen is, so it's Chinese medicine, right? Like energy runs through qi, every part of the body at a certain time. They always say 7 to 9 a.m. or 7 to 9 p.m. is the best time to get pregnant or have sex because it's your reproductive organs. 2 to 4 a.m. is liver. So liver's, all the energy is coming to the liver in the body, and the liver's like, oh, it's my time to shine. It's the spotlight. And then it goes, bleh. And if there's crap in it, it has to elicit a cortisol. It has to purge, and it's work, right? It's a workout. So then your body, your nervous system, your receptors are like, whoa, there's this surge of cortisol in me. There's this workout happening in me, and you're awake. And you're like, why am I awake? It's like, when you wake up, you're awake and you can't go back to sleep. That's your liver. 3:30 to 4 a.m. every single day. So then you're like, okay, it is my liver. Yeah.
And for me too, I was probably eating a lot of heavy meals and probably fat heavy meals too. So my body probably wasn't done close to bed, and so my body wasn't always necessarily done digesting. And 3 or 4 comes around, my body's like, you gotta go to the bathroom, you gotta pee. You just literally got done eating, and you just got done digesting, and now it's time for it to do its job.
Mine's on the charger. Do you have your Oura Ring?
Yeah, this thing.
So we got Oura Rings for Christmas, and it shows you, it's really cool. It's like a Apple Watch for your finger, and it shows you when in the night, like your sleep. It's every hour. Are you light sleep? deep sleep, REM, when are you awake, time in bed, latency, how long it takes you to fall asleep. It's really, really cool. So you can look on there and be like, when am I awakening? And then I have this blood sugar device levels on the back of my arm, and that's been helping me see like when I'm dipping high or dipping low. Both
It's
are
woken us up a
functional
few times because you left the notifications on.
Oh yeah, that it beeps low. Since cutting back on meat, I have been sleeping hard and through the night. A couple weeks ago, I was tossing and turning and waking up at 3 a.m. And again, everyone has a different threshold and set point. So if you're like, my sleep's great, then, the amount of protein and fat might be okay for you. But think about when your liver needs to purge and clean, it can't do it if it's also trying to process all the fat and protein you had in your diet the day before. And fat and protein, essential macronutrients, this is not demonizing those macronutrients. They're in sweet potatoes, they're in blueberries, they're in bananas, they're in avocados. They're not, we could back down on the oils and some of the meats.
Yeah, I would say the oils was a big thing. I don't think my body was necessarily able to handle all of the additional oils plus everything else, because I feel like your liver, I don't know if it's sure or not, but my liver takes longer to necessarily break those down. It's more bile, it's more of a lot of things, and so some of those oils I didn't feel like were explicitly good and able for my body to break down in a timely manner.
And if you're just coming on, join the gluten-free challenge. Just go do it right now. Come back to this live. You'll get the replay as part of the challenge. Link is in my bio, and you're going to get all this information. Okay, so I started juicing celery in the morning, loving the green kickoff. It's amazing. Celery juice is one thing I love, but for example, those of you who have followed along with my dad's healing journey, he's still doing great, and he's released the celery juice after he did it for, I'd probably say, a good 6 months.
Yeah, he did it for a while.
And he's pretty much otherwise symptomless besides when he's ornery, and he's doing well and he's still healing. So, okay, so we have gluten-free challenge, dairy-free. Kind of add that in there. Parts of that. Surprise. It'll come in later.
You'll be surprised at what happens if you do one or the other or both.
Start there. Warm up the car.
Go for it.
Then, once you're like, I've got this gluten-free challenge thing done, you're feeling like you want more, on January 20th, so next Friday, there's a live call for the challenge at 1 p.m. on Zoom, so you're all invited. I'll be there. You'll get the replay if you can't attend. Send me your questions ahead of time. Ask questions during. This will be kind of your time for personal troubleshooting. And then I'll take you through some of the next steps of the Symptomless program for free, just for being a part of the challenge. And if you've been in Symptomless, you'll get new content. Okay, so warm up the car with this challenge. And then look into Symptomless healing, the course, working together, whatever you think you need. So those, if you're like, check, I've worked with Jen, I'm ready for more. This is where we're going to talk about, hey Mindy, the liver rescue cleanse that we did.
369.
369. I
This man's a medium.
He lost a lot of weight quick.
Yeah.
It
flew.
I lost probably like 5 or 6 pounds. I mean,
well, you kept looking at me and being like, your stomach's flat. Like you look like
he had no belly. We're humans. We, a lot of us carry weights in our belly.
But it was my lower belly, I felt like.
But it was like, there were some nights that you just looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was. Oh, for sure. I would eat myself uncomfortable.
We're foodies. Sometimes we eat uncomfortable. I've learned it's a dopamine deficiency. But anyways.
Still gonna have it.
But so you were feeling pretty different after meals and before bedtime.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, okay. I was way lighter. Way lighter.
So let's break down like the technical part of
okay.
what you do in the 369. So if you're like, okay, I've done Symptomless, I've done the gluten-free. If you want to put on weight, so weight loss and weight gain is the same mechanism of inflammation, right? There's inflammation around the cell, blocking the proper nutrients, hormones, macronutrients from getting in. So weight loss and weight gain, they're one and the same. The only thing you would need to be cognizant of, even more so, is while you're cleansing, is make sure that you're getting enough calories. But for people who are trying to lose weight too, I have a client right now, her calories are so low, her body, even on healing foods, she's putting on weight because her body's in a stress response.
And also during this cleanse, he says, eat until you are full. And so he's not putting calorie restrictions on you at all. It's eat until you want to be done.
And what's amazing, so I'll tell you the premise of the 369. You're not eating a lot of meat, especially after day 3. You're not eating overt fat, so oils, nuts, seeds, avocado. And you're not eating, he does have some salt in there, but not much salt. And So it's really the part of our brain that drives us to overeat is the excitatory part of our brain. It's the part that loves fat and salt. It's why chips, you can eat a whole bag.
And there's no caffeine either.
No caffeine, no stimulants. So on this cleanse, you literally, like, I was eating a salad when I didn't really want a salad. And I was like, well, I need to eat. So I ate it, and I ate about half to 3/4 of it. Whereas I would probably, if it had oil and salt on it, I would demolish the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So your brain shuts off a little bit sooner without that reward of fat and salt. So, oh gosh, I love avocado and mixed nuts. So we'll take you through. You don't have to give those up right away when you do the 3-6-9. So the first 3 days is basically the symptomless program. Modified, he doesn't have super specific rules, but for 3 days you're starting to back off on pork, or he says like
Animal
pork
proteins.
and canola, start to avoid that. Back down on animal proteins. Try to put those at dinner. Does he say anything about gluten and dairy?
I don't think he does, but I remember him saying starting to put fats in the second half of your day and
I
really
think that's,
start to look at what you're eating and clean it up.
and bring in lemon water.
Yep, lemon or lime water at morning
and night.
Yep.
So he's like slowly wading you in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then after 3 days of that,
Don't wade in.
Jeff will tell the story at the very end.
Don't wade in.
I'll let you get really graphic so that if people have like sick stomachs and they want to get off. So after 3 days, then you go into the 6. And the 6 is basically the symptomless program, or his version of it. Yeah. The symptomless program or the version of it. And the symptomless program is Anthony William, Mastering Diabetes, Mark Hyman's school. Like, I've just taken all the things I've learned in CB Clinical Pearls and I've put it into practice, and then it's specific for the person in nutritional therapy. But we'll just for debriefing's sake say symptomless program. Plus, now you are completely meat and overt fat free. Yeah, this is the book that we're talking about.
Medical Medium Liver Rescue.
And then he has you doing lemon water twice a day. You're doing a specific, yeah. So can you talk about it?
Yeah, the 6 was where you're actually starting to get into it. So it was lemon water every morning. You had
You have to do a smoothie.
Yeah, so you had lemon water, then you had celery juice. I think that he asked for like 16 ounces. We still do 32 in the morning. After that, you had the morning snack, which consisted of smoothies. I usually did 2 because I was trying to keep most of my weight on. And so I was trying to get calories where I could. And I knew smoothies was an easy place to shove a bunch of calories that were still relatively healthy. And actually, they are healthy, but good for you. And it would keep me full. After that, you went into lunch. A lot of lunches were salads, cucumber noodles with spinach soup, things like that. Then you went to your mid-afternoon snack. Typically, it was a couple of apples with celery sticks. And,
or dates.
And he asked for dates as well on top of that. If he didn't have dates, we started getting the mulberries towards the end.
Good. I like the mulberries.
Really good. He said raisins were okay. If you don't have raisins, figs. And he actually had an ordering of things due to what they provide in terms of liver
heat.
Yeah, liver heat in the thermo, what it does there.
There's a raw applesauce recipe too that's really good. But I just did plain apples and some dates or some mulberries.
And they went down pretty quickly.
Yeah. And then dinner time is like Brussels sprouts or asparagus, liver rescue salad, or you could do the spinach soup with cucumber noodles. And we brought in potatoes, roasted potatoes quite a bit.
Trying to keep calories up.
Because it's just, we actually didn't work out. Well, I did yoga. Jeff, what'd you do?
I haven't worked out in about a month and a half.
He didn't do
the
too
goal
much.
Was there.
He did a lot of like housework and like active things. I did yoga, and that was my workout, and that felt good, but we didn't do normal CrossFit, and I'm so glad we didn't, because that creates more adrenaline in the body, the hard workouts, and when you're cleansing, you don't want any adrenaline. You want your liver to just be able to almost go to sleep so it can completely purge.
And I'll say here, I drink coffee. I wouldn't say every day, but here and there, not to say frequently, but 3 or 4 times a week before this, and I wouldn't necessarily say that was the reason I drove, but I wanted to make sure that that could get cleansed out, adrenals could come back, and I could kind of cleanse it all.
And then at night, so you have lemon water, celery juice, smoothies, lunch with the meals outlined, and there's some options, and they're pretty easy. They're not nothing elaborate. Apples, dates, celery sticks, or 1, 2, or the 3 as snacks. Then you have dinner, and then you do another lemon water, and then you can do hibiscus or lemon balm tea.
I always did lemon, lime water, hibiscus tea, and an apple at night.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure I went to bed, not want to wake up hungry, overnight hungry.
And then, after you've done that, the 9 is basically the same thing. I'm looking at this. It's the last day
you smoothies.
You do?
Yeah, you don't do smoothies in the last 3.
Oh, why? No, you just do more apples. Okay, I see what you...
more apples, you start to do squashes.
It's all a blur.
Yeah,
so,
but like I said, the cucumber noodle spinach soup was pretty good.
That's my favorite. And then the sweet potatoes and squash. We made a lot of squash.
Yep.
On the Saturday of the cleanse. We always like to go out and eat on Saturdays or Fridays, like a date night, and just like go eat something like a Cafe Gratitude, which is what I broke the cleanse on a Monday night. The day before last. And then I already talked about it. And then, or we get like sushi or, like
we have fun.
Vegan dessert. Like it's still gluten-free, it's still dairy-free, it's still egg-free, all the things, but it's a little fun. So on Saturday, we both were like, oh, we were ready for like our filler meal. So I made a soup. It was just water. It was really good. Water, carrots, sweet potatoes, celery, tomatoes, garlic, onion, zucchini, asparagus. So I just
essentially everything that we can already eat, but she just
and then a tiny bit of pink salt, and then spices, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So then the last 3 days of 369, you're basically taking everything into the cleanse that you've been doing. You add in more apples, take out the smoothies. You would have to get the book really to master it, but you could take what we're saying and run with it, or take the symptomless program and just realize what's different and add it in. And then the last day you do juice, or you could do blended melon. But it's really, you could
easy to digest stuff.
It's your stomach's call Zendonkey, call Enjoy, call your local juicery, get juices, or make them yourself. And you're doing juices and lemon water and tea. And
the last juice to me, like whenever we got there, it was actually really enjoyable, and like just drinking juices was kind of nice.
Yeah. So yeah, the cleanse is compatible with lectin free, but I encourage you to go a little bit deeper with lectins and notice like lectins. It's kind of like histamines too. They get a bad rap, or nightshades, but they're actually not the root cause of the problem. And if you have a lectin intolerance that you're noticing, there's deeper healing to be had. And doing the cleanse or doing the symptomless program will actually help the root cause of those conditions. You might need to chat with me, and we need to specify a little bit for you, but that will help you heal. And then you'll notice you can get back to eating lectins. Like I used to get really bad eczema when I ate tomatoes, or joint pain when I ate nightshades. And now that I've healed and cleaned my body, because those foods were actually healing me, it's much, much better. Okay, so start with the gluten-free challenge. Maybe add in some dairy-free. Then go through symptomless. And then when you're ready from that, do the 369. Because if you go straight in and you just like, Jeff started on the day, we did it for 9 days. Well, he did
January 2nd.
He started on day 6. He didn't wade in. So tell us what happened on the first day.
Yeah, so my thinking was pretty much, I'd probably been a little bit off, even like eating dairy and the symptomless stuff. I wouldn't say regularly, but like Christmas came up. I love my family's cooking. Kind of went hard there. Thanksgiving right a month before. New Year's Day / Eve, I kind of went a little bit crazy.
I don't really cheat on gluten or dairy ever, because it's never.
Yeah, so
his body doesn't really care.
I would say I can handle it a little bit better. So I was already a little bit,
but he couldn't handle the cleanse.
It was hard. So I came in a little bit unclean, a little bit like, not saying I really haven't saunaing as much as I wanted to either. So I would say a little bit toxic and build up. So. Right, the 3 or the 6 and the 9 are a lot of cucumber noodles, spinach soups.
Can you just tell us what happened? So
I'm going to, but in the liver rescue salad, well, the first 3 days are weaning off things and not going straight into that. I decided the first 3 days to do all that, eat the apples. I'm going to eat until I'm full. I'm going to go crazy. I think shortly after dinner,
let me see if I can find
I was sitting here on this couch and I looked at Jen and I was like, I don't feel good. Because I just went so crazy and I was eating so much. I think I ate a whole bowl of raw garlic too, because my throat was kind of hurting because I was coming out. And I looked at her and I was like, I do not feel good. And so I was eating all that. I think I ate all of it. And then
I was like, hold on, Jeff. So my salad is here in the bowl, the round bowl, and his stuff is on the white plates. And I'm like, at least cut it up. Like it wasn't even palatable. He was eating these like heaps of food. The first day, and I don't think you did it in the best way. I'll start to show some other photos of what we've done.
Yeah, I probably.
So just tell us what happened. So you went all in.
So
you didn't.
I went all in.
You skipped days. You went to day 6.
Yeah, I went straight to day 6. I didn't start weaning my diet. I didn't do it, I would say, the best route in terms of like, cutting off your animal protein, start to get rid of some of the fat, start to just kind of cut back on the things to make days 6 and 9 more enjoyable. So I went straight to day 6 or day 9.
This was really good. We liked these. Okay,
yeah.
no, this is what you ate for dinner.
Yeah, and I sat on the couch and I looked at Jen. I was like, I don't feel good. You know how your jaw kind of gets like blocky and your mouth starts to salivate? I was like, I think I'm gonna hurl. And so she looked at me. She's like, I told you, you probably went too hard. You should have weaned. You should have done this. And the next thing I know, I run to the bathroom and I had the most violent and explosive throw up. Like I literally, I think, gave myself a hernia from how hard I did. My stomach hurt and I just, I actually vomited. It felt amazing though after I did.
And he had a really nice like Lululemon shirt on, and it was splattered in that soup that you saw.
Yeah, so I did. I went too hard too quickly. Going back, I would have weaned and I would have done it differently and cut off the animal protein, start to cut out the fat, start to do some of those things. I still think the lemon and lime water was really good. Going straight in on that and the celery juice, I don't think that would have hurt me.
But I had a client today, we were emailing, and she's like, hey, I'm having some pretty intense trips to the bathroom. I just started celery juice. And I'm like, that's really common. While uncomfortable and not ideal, it's super common as you clean out.
And I would say that, speaking of that was something that I experienced as well. Bathroom trips were frequent, and they weren't always formed. So, like, I was definitely detoxing. The first couple of days were the worst, where it was like, oh, God, I got to go to the bathroom. And
I'll show you guys what was my last bite of food before the cleanse.
Yeah, she made this, and I was like, we're about to cleanse, babe.
It was so good, and I can't wait to have it again. It was these, like, they're in our freezer still. Is
it the Dayton nuts with chocolate on top?
Yes, and it's so good. So that was my last thing that I had. That looks amazing. I think I saw your comment pop up when we were talking about the cucumber noodles. I'm going to pull those back up.
And we had a nice little spiralizer to do that, so the noodles actually came out really well.
But honestly, I think when you're needing substance, this is what I want to show. On the cleanse, roast, peel. I hate the sweet potato skins. Peel some sweet potatoes, or just slice them in circles after the peels are off, and then cube them. Make them really. I think this is actually the squash you made, but same point.
There was a
cinnamon, maple syrup, and roast it, and that will give you that warm, heavier feeling that you're missing because we're neurally adapted to the amount of fat and protein in our diet. So you're gonna miss that thump feeling in your gut for a while you're doing this. After, up and through day 6, I was pretty like, I want chocolate, I want sushi, and then after that I was like, oh, like the whole world opened up, and it was great. But Jeff,
I was gonna say, for me, I didn't really crave coffee or even like sweets. I would say I was more craving like a big hamburger at certain times, and I don't know why. Like I would go to sleep and dream of a hamburger. I don't know why I was dreaming. I haven't had a hamburger in years, but my body was like, hamburger now.
The food dreams. I had so many food dreams. Okay. Is it safe with pregnancy? Let's talk about pregnancy and breastfeeding for a second. Pregnancy, it depends on where you're at and what level you've been doing this at. And because I know we've worked together, since you're pretty used to the Symptomless program, you could do 1 day at a time of the day 6 or the day 9, ensuring that you're getting plenty of calories, but then you're going to want to bring in fats. You don't necessarily have to have the animal protein, but you would need some like avocado at night, or like some pistachios, or just to get you some more calories for energy for your pregnancy. Pregnancy is not really the time to worry about fully cleansing, but you could do a full day, an alternate, do every other day or every third day,
or just start to make
week.
Meals like this, because he does say you can eat as much as you want. He doesn't give you a limit or restriction. So if this looks good, maybe add in some spinach soup and some cucumber noodles to your diet.
Yep. And then breastfeeding, pregnancy, you probably have a little bit better of a chance of doing it unless you have any aversions or nausea. But breastfeeding, you need even more calories. So you're going to notice, as this is something I always teach as a lactation consultant, is your least, if you're symptomless program, or say your liver rescue cleansing, like whichever one, you're going to want to add in about roughly half avocado at lunch and then another serving at dinner, or some salmon, or you're going to need more fats, and fats are easier to consume than carbohydrates, and for the amount of quantity you have to eat. So a note on pregnancy and breastfeeding. So next week will be good, starting stringent, gluten-free, dairy-free, tomorrow to prep. Yeah. So Emma, while we're on the retreat, they make juices every morning, and you could like do a juice for a morning, nibble on some fruit, make sure you're eating. The really important thing about the cleanse, and this is why people get sick when they cleanse, like beyond pushing themselves too quick, but why people are like, oh, I cleansed, or I went vegan, or I went whatever their diet of choice. So you have to eat about every 2 to 4 hours to get enough.
Graze every 1.5 hours.
You don't want your body to create that cortisol response and try to make its own fuel. So when you go into starvation mode, you can intermittent fast, but once you're past that window, your body has cortisol to try to keep it going, right? So you don't want that on a cleanse. You want to, this isn't a time to get skinny, but in feeding yourself this way, you will lose inflammation. So whether that means you lose weight, or whether that means your weight stabilizes so that you can gain weight. So you want to be eating every few hours. And then same thing if you're doing the gluten-free challenge. So go sign up. It costs you nothing. You can win a juicer. You can win a session with me. You can win the symptomless course. So if you're like, okay, Jen's talking about these 3 levels. There's gluten-free, dairy-free, the challenge, and then there's symptomless, and then there's 369. Get the symptomless course. Enroll in the challenge. I will give you instructions how to enroll. Listen to the podcast. It'll tell you how to win the challenge. There's a couple things that we'll have you do. It's easy. And then you have nothing to lose. And then bring your questions on January 20th, next Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time. If you've signed up for the challenge, you'll get the link to the Zoom call. Bring your questions and we'll do a little bit of coaching in that small group setting. And let me know how you like the playlist. It comes out once you've signed up. That's your day 1. So you can sign up through the 20th, and then you have a prep day when you sign up, and then your day 1 starts, and we want to know how you love it. So that's me skipping meals. I know we get busy.
I used to do that all the time, and I still do.
But it's not worth it.
No.
It's a stress response.
I used to do that all the time, and I was 160 pounds, and I was mad, but I couldn't gain weight at the gym because I would eat a little bit at lunch, if at all, and then I'd just eat dinner. Feel worn down and everything else. So I would definitely encourage, like, if you can, graze every 1.5 hours. Ooh. Or just have a thing of dried fruit next to you or something that you can graze on.
Brooke, I love this question. So, spoiler alert, in February, we're going to start talking about this, but on March 6th, my I Am Women program begins, and we're going to talk about, for women who are cycling with a menstrual cycle, and women who are perimenopausal, menopausal, or who are before that age but just have had like surgical menopause or whatever it might be, or maybe who are in some hormonal flux or anatomical flux, how we cycle. So you're either cycling on your inner moon or you're cycling with the moon. And there's best times to do this. And I started follicular. So you have your cycles typically 4 weeks. So you're the week right after your period's follicular. And then you have a few days of ovulation. And then you have luteal. It's like the week to 10 to 14 days before your period. And then you have menstrual, which is your period. In the first half of your cycle, so right after your period, this is the time to do it. Your body wants lighter, raw foods. It can handle a little bit more. It doesn't need the density and the warmth. So around your period, you need warmer foods to create heat to support the uterus and having your cycle. Or if you think about the moon, if you're like, well, I'm not cycling, I'm perimenopausal and menopausal, think about around the full moon. The week before and the week of the full moon would be a really good time. And this is for men too. Men, your body is attuned to the moon and you can do it this way. You'll notice you have a little bit more outward vibrant energy. The new moon or luteal into menstrual is a time where you want to have warmer foods. You want to have more comfort. You want to go inward. You're going to feel a little bit more emotional. You're going to feel a little bit just like, I can feel it. I'm getting into late luteal this week, and I can feel like on this call, Jeff, I'm like, come on, Jeff, we got it. you're just more assertive. You have a little bit less.
Go.
No, you're not go, babe. But you're just like, I want it
You
done.
have to go.
And you're just, you want to withdraw. You want to go lay in bed with a warm bowl of chili with a ton of like Mayoko's cheese and avocado on it, and you want some chocolate, and you want some hot cocoa, and you want a warm tea. You don't want to be on a cleanse into your cycle. Yes. So yeah, if you don't cycle anymore, not for 25 years, this is the content I'm so excited to bring to you all. So watch out for the I Am Woman program. It's a program. And then if you want to go further, it leads into a retreat. You're still cycling. We're humans. We're cycling with the moon. Mm-hmm. We're cycling with our inner moon. Watch for that stuff coming out. But just know you're going to want to watch like this cleanse in general for follicular ovulation or full moon week and week before. All right. So last time, go join the gluten-free challenge. Link in my bio if you haven't. It's free. It's just something that I want to do to engage the community so we can get together, so we can do something together for the new year. If you have any questions, send us a DM. January 20th is that live that we'll all do together. And thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks, babe, for being on.
Yep, bye.